Welcome back to the Inner Altar. This is episode 7, and this episode's a little bit heavy. I am definitely going to be diving in about grief and the people we carry. When this episode aired, it'll be the day after my brother's 4-year death anniversary. I lost my brother in 2022 to a fatal car accident. I didn't plan where this conversation would go. I wanted to introduce you guys to my brother. And if you've ever lost somebody that you love, I hope this episode reminds you that you're really not carrying that grief alone. Grief, it is strange. It does not ask permission before it shows up, and it doesn't care if you're at work or you're grocery shopping or you're laughing with friends or just simply folding laundry. It arrives when you hear a song or smell a familiar cologne or drive by a place you used to go to together. People say grief comes in waves. And for me, not really. I feel like grief is more of a shadow. It's always there. And some days are barely noticeable, and some days it's a little unbearable. People ask me if I have any siblings. I mean, every single time I get this weird little hesitated feeling. Because, what do you say? Do you answer with the number that's alive or the number your heart still counts? And for me, I always say I have 2 brothers, but one of them passed away. And of course, I get the sad condolences. And it has gotten easier over the years. But sometimes it is a little bit difficult. Because I'll always count the number that my heart still counts. Because in my heart, I'll always be a big sister to 2 little brothers. I watched my brother Gerard come into this world. I remember the excitement. I remember seeing him as a tiny little human and knowing my life would never be the same. We talked about this in a previous episode, how I never wanted kids from that moment, but what the hey, life takes many different twists and turns. But from the moment he was born, he became a part of my story and a part of my identity and a part of my childhood. He knew the same house. We shared memories. And there's something so sacred about sibling love. It's one of the longest relationships we'll ever have. Someone who witnessed your beginning, someone who remembers a version of you that no one else does. But what people don't talk about enough is sibling grief. There's a lot of talk about losing parents, losing spouses, losing children. But losing a sibling, it's losing one of the only people who remembers where you came from. It's losing someone who can finish your stories, who understands your family without explanation. Someone who shares your history too. It's like losing a living piece of your own timeline. And suddenly, you're carrying memories that no one else can carry with you. One of the greatest gifts life ever gave me happened before he died. For the last 8 months of his life, we lived together, and at this point, I really don't think that was a coincidence. At the time, it just felt like that's what I had to do to get out of the roommate situation that I was in Lodi. But it was a calling. It was an initiation into deep shadow work and healing. I got sober for the first time in his house. I really touched down with spirit. I was on a 40-day devotional where every morning I would wake up, and before I looked at my phone, I would sit at my altar and I would pray, I would pull cards, I would journal, I would meditate for a full hour before I got ready for work, before I did anything. And on the 40th morning, he died. And I still went to my altar and completed those 40 days of devotion. And when you do 40 days of devotion like that, it spiritually prepares you for something. But what I didn't know at the beginning of those 40 days was that it was going to prepare me to live in this world without my brother. When I lived with him, I would be able to listen to him play his guitar. We would talk about random things and we'd share ordinary moments. We went out kayaking together. And at the time, I didn't think it was anything spectacular. Nothing I thought I would hold on to forever. But grief has a funny way of making ordinary moments priceless. And I would give anything to just hear him walk through the house one more time and hear his big old clanky keys and his big old boots, to be able to just hear his voice and to hear him laugh. Just have one more ordinary day at the house with him. Grief, it teaches you that ordinary, it's extraordinary all along. I have to truly thank my sobriety for helping me through this. People assumed grief would send me backwards. They assumed I need something to numb the pain. And honestly, I really understood why they thought that, because grief hurts in places that words can't fucking reach. But something inside me knew if I numbed my grief, I would numb my love too. And I couldn't do that. I wanted to feel every ounce of missing him, because every ounce of that pain was proof of every ounce of my love for him. So I stayed sober, not because I was strong, but because I wanted to honor him with my full presence. I wanted to remember, and I wanted to cry, and I wanted to feel. I wanted to carry him cautiously. And looking back, staying sober through the hardest season of my life became one of the greatest gifts I've ever given myself, because I learned something. Pain doesn't kill us. Avoiding pain slowly will, and will slowly disconnect us from ourselves. Grief changed me, and sadly, I do suppress a lot of it. But it made me realize how temporary everything is. I hug my daughters a little longer and tighter now. I tell people that I love them more often. I don't wait for the perfect time anymore, because there is no perfect time. There's only today, only this conversation, only this hug, only this sunset, only this ordinary moment that one day we'll wish we had back. I've learned that grief isn't only about death. I've also grieved friendships and relationships, old dreams, versions of myself, the little girl I used to be, the body I used to have, the future I thought I would be living. Grief is simply love searching for somewhere to land. And I think that's why it hurts so much because love doesn't disappear when someone dies. It stays, but it just changes shape. There is so many moments where I wish I could just text him and call him and just, you know, hang out with him, listen to him play his guitar again. And it breaks my heart all over again. But you just become more familiar with the ache and you learn how to carry it. You build a life around it. But the grief, it never leaves. And honestly, I don't want it to. Because if grief disappeared, it would mean the love disappeared too. Sometimes I wonder, like, where is he in the afterworld and the afterlife? And there's times, periods of times that I go without talking to him. And it does make me sad that I do that. And I have to remember that if I keep talking to him, he will be close. I do ask him for signs, and he sure sends a hell of a lot of them. Sometimes I can hear him, feel him in songs that I listen to. Sometimes I see him in my daughters and the way that they are and the way that they laugh and their little faces they make. And whether that is all just spiritual or just simply my heart making sense of loss, I don't know. And honestly, I don't need to know. It comforts me, and that's enough. If you've lost someone, I want to tell you something I wish someone had told me. There is no right way to grieve. There is no timeline. There's no finish line. There's no graduation. There's not. Some years, the anniversary of the death or a birthday will knock the fucking wind out of you. And some years, you'll laugh all day, and both are okay. They're both okay. And I think about my brother often, and not how he died, but how he lived. His smile and his energy and his imperfections, his humanity, his kindness for others that he had. I don't want his story of him dying to become his only ending and what people lastly remember of him. Because he's so much more than the day we lost him. He was a whole life, a whole soul, a whole collection of moments that deserve to be remembered. And maybe that's what grief asks of us. Not to stay broken, but to become storytellers, to keep saying their name, to tell our children about them. Nova already has such a beautiful relationship with her Theo G, and he's not even here. We need to remember to laugh at the memories, to cook their favorite meal, to play their favorite song, to keep their love moving through the world. Because I think that's how people never really leave us, to become part of the way that we love, the way that we forgive, and the way that we show up, the way that we slow down or hold each other, the way we just refuse to take ordinary days for granted. My brother taught me anything. He taught me that life is unbelievably fragile and beautiful. Don't wait to make the phone call. Don't wait to say I love you. Don't wait to start the dream. Don't wait until life slows down. Don't wait to hug your people because tomorrow is a promise none of us have been given. So if there's someone in your heart that you're grieving, it doesn't have to even be someone that has passed. Maybe it's an old version of you or a relationship, a friendship, a job, a place. I hope you tell the story and I hope you cry if you need to. And I hope you laugh at the memory. And I hope you let yourself miss them because grief is not something to overcome. It's something that we just learn to carry. And carrying someone you loved, what an incredible privilege that is. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, place your hand over that beautiful heart of yours. Because if there's someone you're carrying today, just know this, that they are stitched into the way you love, into the way you live, into the way you see the world. They're not gone. They're woven into you. My brother may no longer walk beside me, but he walks within me every single day. And I know he always will. So thank you. Getting a little emotional and vulnerable with me. I can't believe it's been 4 years my brother's been gone. Until next time, I'll see you in the next episode.